An important aspect of understanding your financial position is understanding your tax. Everyone earning an income in Australia has to lodge an income tax return. 3/4 of Australians use the services of a tax agent every year. So when you're meeting with your accountant, it's a fabulous opportunity to start asking some questions about the sorts of deductions that you're entitled to claim, and importantly, some questions around your overall financial affairs. Now, sometimes knowing what questions to ask can be really difficult, so we're here to help get the ball rolling and provide you with some questions you should be asking your accountant. There's often some deductions that we don't actually know we're entitled to claim. Now, this could be things like charitable donations. They are frequently tax deductible. It could be things like income protection insurance. It could also be things like laundry expenses for washing your work uniforms. And some occupations actually have tax deductions available to them for certain safety equipment. Certain income earners will have to pay a Medicare levy surcharge unless they have taken out minimum levels of private health insurance. Many people who undertake some work from a home office may be entitled to claim a tax deduction for those home office expenses. This could be things like internet connection or stationery. Everybody should give some consideration to making additional contributions to their superannuation. Even small contributions made very early on in your career can make a huge difference to the amount that you can retire on. The earlier you start, the better you'll be. Salary sacrificing superannuation contributions can be a very tax effective way of increasing the amount of money that you put away for your retirement. It's worth asking the question of your accountant to find out whether or not salary sacrificing suits your personal needs.
Preparation is key. So you need to make sure that you have all your documentation, receipts and paperwork to ensure that you actually receive the deductions that are appropriate for you. So it's important to actually check with your accountant to say, what receipts do I need to keep? And more important, just as importantly, actually set up a filing system so when it comes to tax time, you've got all that paperwork together. Look, there are a number of offsets and payments that you can actually receive, and it depends on your circumstances. What's also important is telling your accountant if your circumstances have actually changed, because based on that you may actually be able to receive some government assistance, such as offsets on medical expenses or family benefit payments as well. So have a look at what your circumstances are, tell your accountant, and especially if your circumstances have actually changed during the year. Australians have a real love for investing in property, property investment in general, and one of the key ways of actually doing that is through negative gearing. So quite often people say, well, what is the implications of negative gearing and what details do I need to know about it? And it has impacts on your tax and also on your cash flow. So it's important that if you're thinking about investment property, you talk to your accountant and say, what are the implications from a tax perspective and also cash flow perspective? Quite often we think of borrowing money, be it for a house or an investment property, as going to the bank in a pretty simple process, but there are a number of considerations you actually have to look at. One is whether you pay it off interest only or a principal and interest basis. And there is a significant difference in terms of the amount of interest you're going to pay over the lifetime of the loan. So there'd be real value if you don't quite understand how that actually works, you're sitting down and talking to your accountant and saying, you know, what are the benefits, what are the pros and the cons, and what's going to affect my cash flow. This is probably one of the more sort of complex questions that may come up from time to time. But if you actually have an investment property, you may well be entitled to certain tax deductions. And to ensure you actually get those tax deductions and entitlements, it's important that you actually have a quantity surveyor's report. So that's one of the questions. If it comes up and you're not sure, you can actually always ask your accountant who can provide you some guidance as far as that's concerned. Remember, these are just a few questions that you may like to ask your accountant. You may have many more, and your accountant is there to assist you. If you'd like a copy of these questions, please go to the Institute's website and you can print a copy off.